Governor-elect Maura Healey is our guest. Let's go on the record. Her victory in November, historic in so many ways. Now the work of governing is about to begin with all eyes on Beacon Hill. What can we expect? Maura Healey is here to talk about the transition.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Welcome to OTR. I'm Janet Wu, along with News Center 5 political reporter Sharman Sacchetti. Thanks for joining me. Maura Healey joins us at the table. She is the governor-elect of Massachusetts. Inauguration day is January 5th. Currently, she's the Commonwealth's Attorney General, an office she's held since 2015. In the 1990s, she played professional basketball in Austria. Sorry about that. She holds degrees from Harvard and Northeastern. Thanks for being here. Are you ready? It's about 2 weeks away.
Hard to believe. I am ready. I am excited. Kim Driscoll and I have been working really hard with our team to meet with members of the administration, current cabinet secretaries, members of the legislature, and stakeholders. It's been a busy time since election night with the formation of policy committees. And really, I'm so happy to see so many people who are excited and interested and engaged in coming together, working hard, contributing to the work of this administration to move this great state to where it needs to be.
Well, we're hoping to get a few more details from you today.
Sure.
Some specifics, perhaps. Let's start with housing. That's one of the key factors, of course, in homelessness. And Mayor Wu, she has said the state has not done enough. So what are you prepared to do that Governor Baker so far hasn't done?
Well, a few things, and this is a statewide issue. The first thing is I'm going to create a Secretary of Housing who's going to be responsible, accountable for driving production around the state. Rents are out of reach for so many people, and the ability to purchase a home is so difficult right now. So we are about driving production around the state through a Secretary of Housing, through more dense housing around, particularly around our transportation hubs. We're also going to look at utilizing state public lands and how they can be converted to housing. And we're committed to streamlining the process for permitting so we can actually help developers create the housing that we need all across the state.
So the role for the state really to just kind of roll back and allow developers to have a little more autonomy, or no?
It's both. It's certainly about making sure that we are streamlining that permitting process so that it's easier for developers to do what they need to do, which is to create housing stock across the state. But it's much more than that. We've got money coming in that we need to invest both in the preservation and rehabilitation of existing housing, and we need to find ways to incent communities to make sure that our zoning practices are working in the right way so that we're able to build the capacity, build the density in some instances, particularly around transportation hubs, that will address this need. Housing, this is a critical point, Sharman, for Massachusetts competitiveness. And as I talk to residents, as I talk to employers, this is a real concern and a determining factor as to whether or not people are going to stay in our state. We want people
We're
to
losing people.
Which is exactly the Massachusetts Taxpayers Foundation came out with a report this past week saying that we no longer are keeping the brightest and the best here in Massachusetts. Do you think they're right about that?
Well, I think housing is an issue across the country, and as I talk to other leaders, this is an issue around the country.
But are we losing them? Are we losing the best and the brightest, do you think?
I don't think we're losing the best and the brightest. I think there is a concern about where we're going to go, where we're going to land, and that is why Kim Driscoll and I are committed to doing everything we can to support not only the investments that we need to make in housing, but in transportation and in education, so that Massachusetts, this great state that it is a state where people can afford to live, where people can afford to stay, and where businesses can grow.
I want to talk about climate change. It's one of your top priorities. You want 100% clean energy for public transportation within 17 years, and you want to expand energy storage fourfold in 7 years, as well as appoint a cabinet level, sort of like climate czar, like you talked about for housing. How much money will this take, and where are you going to get the money to do this?
Well, it is just so important. I mean, climate right now, it's an economic imperative for our state, for our region. And that's why I've been really aggressive with some of the goals that I've set, but also pragmatic. We've got money coming in, important investments to be made in infrastructure and transportation that are going to help with climate resiliency. The reason I'm doing something that's never been done before, Janet, and appointing a climate chief is to make sure that a climate agenda is being driven across all of our cabinets, labor and workforce, energy and environmental affairs, transportation, housing, and economic development. Because I know we are not going to get to where we need to be as a state, as a region, unless we bring that intentionality. It's through investment, it's through resources, it's through some restructuring, and it's through being clear about our goals and our determination that we're going to get there. I have to tell you, this is one of the most exciting areas that I've seen. We also have in Massachusetts an opportunity to create a climate corridor of climate tech, research, manufacturing that stretches across this state. We're going to have money. We have money and investments coming in for that. And it's something that we need to take advantage of. Massachusetts, just as we've been a global leader in life sciences, we're going to be a global leader when it comes to a climate tech economy.
What about nuclear fusion? It was in the news this past week, but it's really going to be a long time before it becomes reality. Where do you stand on nuclear power plants, which is a different type of technology? Do you think that there should be more that should be built?
I think we need to be exploring all options. And how exciting is it that discovery is coming
But it's going to be a long time before we actually see anything from that. So what about
investments?
Nuclear power
But you know
plants?
what? We can't suffer from short-term thinking. We have to think about the long-term too, and the investments that we need to make. When it comes to energy, all resources, all potential sources need to be on the table. And that's why I've been such a strong advocate for solar and wind and hydro and battery storage. But I do want to go back to my earlier point. Massachusetts, we have the best and the brightest. That discovery was made out of MIT. And again, this is about harnessing our resources, bringing together our human capital, intellectual capital, research, innovation, and know-how to drive an economy that is great for our climate, great for our economy.
All right. The MBTA may be your most immediate headache as soon as you assume office. The federal government just last week rejected the T's proposals to fix their safety problems. What's not being done now to fix the problem?
I think that we can talk a lot about what hasn't happened and some of the failures there. Here's what I'm going to do. We are going to have a new general manager.
When will we know that?
Soon. We're in the midst of a search,
Before you take office?
No, I expect there to be an interim GM for some time, and then there will be a GM. What's important is that we make sure we are making the investments now, particularly when it comes to workforce and operations. The fact is we don't have enough workers right now for the jobs that we need to operate the trains and the buses and the rail and the way that residents deserve. And so that's a very, very important thing. Also making sure that we are aggressively going after and deploying those funds that have come from the federal government through the Infrastructure Act, as well as the money and expected revenue that's going to be coming into the state coffers this year.
Riders want to know when it is that things will be up and running at a schedule that they used to have. What do you tell them right now? And do you have a goal set for these initiatives?
Well, I want people to know that Kim Driscoll and I recognize that this is a top priority. It's a top priority for competitiveness in our state and for the lives of residents and the functionality of businesses across the state, because transportation isn't just about moving people around. It's about our economy. It's about access to education. It's about access to jobs. It's about so much. Here's my commitment. We are going to do everything as quickly as possible, as aggressively as possible to make this better. And that means hiring the right leadership, making sure the right workforce and supported workforce is in place, and bringing this, focus and attention. You will see Kim and I out there regularly and engaged on this, because we know that transportation is a key driver for our state. We know it is not where it needs to be, but we also are committed to making sure that we see that through.
You talked a little bit earlier about money flowing into the state. On your to-do list as you take office is figuring out how to implement Question 1, which was passed by the voters. Should there be a one-time exemption for homeowners?
Let me tell you how I view Question 1. Obviously, the will of the voters needs to be respected, and I want to make sure as governor that I am doing everything I can to ensure that that money, as the voters wanted, is going to be used for education, transportation, and infrastructure investments. That's number one. Number two, I've said for a long time that we need tax reform in this state. Earlier in the year, I supported proposals to provide relief for seniors, low and middle income folks, renters, and the like. I also put forward a proposal for a child tax credit, $600 for every child across the state. I've been in discussions with the legislature. I know that those discussions will continue, and I think there is a shared interest and consensus in making sure that we are providing our residents, our businesses with the kind of tax relief and tax reform that makes sense, that's going to help power us forward.
But what about the implementation? Do you think that one-time exemptions for home buyers who are selling the homes that they've owned for 30, 40, 50 years, whose value has gone up, should there be an exemption from this millionaire's
test? I saw the
test?
Secretary of State announce that, I think, just the other day.
He was here on Channel 5, as a matter of fact, last week.
Well, let me say this. I think that all of these ideas are important, and I will engage directly with the legislature and others in discussions about this. As you know, I have a new Secretary of A&F, and the budget really is job one, priority one. That work is ongoing and will continue right through the first of the year.
Tax relief is priority one?
I would say affordability is job one, and that's going to so many fronts. Tax relief, of course, but what are we looking to drive down the cost of housing in the state, fixing transportation? There's a lot on our plate, but we're up to the task.
But at least you can guarantee voters that the money that comes in from the millionaire's tax will go to education, transportation, and infrastructure.
Yes.
Okay.